Welcome back to the Elite Podcast. Today we have, like always, Janelle and Jaden and Tiana too. And we have some people joining us, and we also have Mrs. Ciceri, which you've seen before in the other episode. Oh, and we have Mr. Smith. I almost forgot about you. Mrs. Ciceri, why don't you start off by, introducing yourself, again?
Well, thank you, Be Elite crew, podcast crew. You guys are awesome, and it's so great to be back and just hang out today, talk about music, something that I don't know how to live without music. And those of you as a human, we all have something creative that we love to do. And, you could fill in that blank, like I can't live without blank, and where you just lose yourself. And yeah, so Cindy, who am I? I'm that person that just loves love. I'm wearing this pin that a student gave me that's in my music class, and it's about when I say love, the arts are about loving yourself, your own creative choices, knowing that you're being still, and you're listening to your own, in music, your own musical ideas. What do you want to say? Every day is different, every hour is different based on whatever's happening around us, right? And we're human, and we have no choice but to respond. And so the arts, sometimes we just need to listen to music, right? We just got to put on that artist that just helps us for whatever reason, through a problem, or through, I know a lot of athletes that they need certain songs right before the game. If I don't hear that song, and I totally get it. It's a mindset, and especially with the arts, it's about love, because I don't think it's not the place for judgment. I've always been confused since I was a teenager. Like the award shows, I'd watch the Grammys, but I'm like, why aren't any of my favorite artists getting awards? I don't see Nirvana on there. I don't see, there was just, Janet Jackson, and a lot of these amazing artists that were so diverse. I liked all types of music, and I was forced to sing in my mom's choir class music that I didn't like. Later, I realized that was one of the best things I could have done, is be exposed to the music I don't like, because that's what fed my creativity. When I started songwriting and getting through some heavy stuff in high school, for me, that was really heavy, hard times. I was able to make my own sound. I was able to come up with something because I had all this influence of listening to Broadway, musical theater, classical, hip hop, everything, country. In my household, I'm sure you guys could share some funny stories about this, and this would be great. My household, my dad was like full-blown country cowboy from the Midwest, grew up on a ranch. My mom, she's from the Midwest too, but she was classical opera singer. Musically, could not be more opposite. And so it was always interesting to be around those conversations. And it wasn't that they thought about it, it's just there was a disconnect. And I wish I would have seen them appreciate what the other one saw or heard in the music versus this one's better than that one, or you know what I mean? And so I think, having been in that environment growing up, that's where my open mind comes from, because I saw missed opportunity for my mom and dad to listen with their perspective, and empathize and go, okay, I get it. So to me, it's about love and respecting and really trying to understand how somebody else experiences music. I know. Any funny stories about that, you guys? Anybody wants to chime in? Music battles. I know teenagers, right away, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to admit that I like this artist or group, K-pop or something like that. I know. I was there in high school too, where you are worried about saying what you like, but then when you start getting real confidence, you can't help but share what you like, because it's what you stand for.
Like what happened in the when we were in the chorus, where someone was afraid of saying what they liked, because people were not everyone likes it. But she said what she liked, and she met people who like it as well. So I think you should always share what you like and who you are, because if you share someone else that you're not, then you're gonna make friends that are not very in keen with who you are You should always be true to yourself, so you surround yourself with people that like will like be the best for you and help you grow as a person, instead of like people who don't really know you and they won't really help you grow.
Yeah. And Xavier, I see in the chat, Xavier put, I don't like country. I totally, like, yeah, that's great. You either like it or you don't, whatever, you know. I don't think it's ever, as a human, building on what Cindy just said, I don't think it's right to try to tell somebody what music they should like, because again, you guys are all going to gravitate towards something different. And if you get real, I'm into the neurosciences, so if you really start thinking about why you have your interests, it goes all the way back to your childhood and what you've been exposed to and what the context of those situations were. So sometimes, you know, I don't like a certain type of music, but I start to because it reminds me of my best friend's dad's funeral that I sang for. And so ever since then, that song is one of my favorites now. Didn't used to be, now it is, because there was a life human exchange that added value. And at the end of the day,
I also think that sometimes when you like listen to why a person likes a certain type of music, you can start like saying, okay, so that's why you like it, and then they could try it out and they can see like some part that they like about it, like a song, not all of them. And also about what you said about like the childhood, I was reading that when you're trying to like pick your career, you're supposed to revert back to like, what did you like to do when you were younger? Like, what did you always find yourself doing? And then that's what should be like your dream career. But I also think that people sometimes change what they want to be when they're younger to like when they're older, because their interests change.
Yeah, did any of you, building on what Cindy said, did any of you guys used to play like band? You know, I used to play the Broom rock star band style and all the stuff before I could really play instruments all the time, singing to the hairbrush. I mean, you guys.
I used to play. I didn't play like music. I played teacher all the time. That's the only thing. My cousins come over and they said, "You want to play teacher?" Is because my whole family, well, all of them are teachers. That's why. It's like my grandma used to take her to her school, where she was like teaching and also a principal, like two things. And then I would just hang out in her office. I'll go in her class and become her student. So I really fell in love with like school in general and like teacher. But I don't want to be a teacher anymore. I think I grew out of it. I wanted to be a teacher all the way up to like middle school. And then I still want to be a teacher, but not the whole all the time.
Well, all y'all are so young and just have as many, especially with music, have as many experiences as you can have. Javier, can you share with us, like, and be proud of the way that you think? It's your thought. There's no right or wrong. So, you know, but when I say be proud, like it's where you're coming from, but also listen always to every, you know, like, don't you guys agree that that's like equal value, like to share your truths, but then also listen equally to other people's perspective and that kind of thing? But Xavier, you don't have to, but do you want to share like what it is about country that you don't particularly like? Is it, can you narrow it down to like, is it the rhythm? Is it usually the lyrics, or like what?
Well, I've never really been too much of a music person, but like I do like some music. Like I just like music that sounds good. Like I don't care what it comes from, but as long as it sounds good.
How do you know if it sounds good for you? Because I think everybody I saw heads going, yep, But if we all had to define what sounds good on paper and then share it, I guarantee it's going to be different.
I don't know, just like it's like really good like beat, like stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And like, but I just don't like country. It's just like the vibe from it and like the rhythm. I'm more like I'm not like I like chillax. Like okay, it's gotta take a roll. Like, that's what I think of country. But like I'm like let's do it like that and stuff like that.
You like so you're into like the music that's kind of got a steady beat that kind of makes you want to get up off your feet.
Yeah, like that. That's the kind of music I like.
Yeah, absolutely. How many of you can relate to Xavier? I'm going to raise your hands. Or,
kind of.
Yeah.
It depends on like what I'm doing. I kind of like that music. Sometimes slow music, like I can't listen to it all the time. Like music that's slow, but sometimes I can. Most of the time I like to listen to upbeat music, like when I'm doing like my homework and things like that, because it just makes me like upbeat. I mean, I don't know how how to explain it.
What about this question? Because it's like you said, sometimes you like the slow music, sometimes, yeah, right? Because we are all emotional creatures. You're human, so you're emotional. Okay. Yes, we need to be logical. Yes, practical, solve problems. There's equal value, but you have to validate your emotions. Please, please, please. I say this all the time to students. When somebody tells you you shouldn't feel that way, that's hard to take in because you can't help but feel super happy about something. If you're happy, you can't. If you're really upset and angry, you can't just turn it off and like it just, that's not how emotions work. But we have a lot of choices that we make as far as how we communicate or whether we go to, again, music. So when you're having these choices of what music you listen to, does anybody want to like share, even like when you've been in a funky, I've been in like, I've had certain music albums that I just listen to on a loop over and over again while I get through that dark time. But I can't go back and listen to it again because it almost like kind of takes me back there, even though I love the music. So does anybody, you know what I mean? Like, so music is very complicated when you think about it and what it does for our soul and for our like healing, you know, in a way. So does anybody want to, Janelle, I see your head going like that. I heard Mr. Smith say, right? Do you guys want to chime in on that?
I know in middle school, we used to like always listen to these certain songs and we do like this like lunch thing and we'd always play these certain songs and I loved them. But I went through such a horrible time in middle school that now recently I heard one of them on an ad and I had to mute it. I'm like, I can't listen to this again because I just hate it now. So it definitely affects that. And I also wanted to say, you asked about like earlier if we did anything when we wanted to play instruments but couldn't play it. I always wanted to play piano. And so there was one time I was playing on it and I tried to figure out a tune and I just always wanted to play. So I downloaded an app on my tablet and I tried to play around with the app and I got one on my computer and I'd use my keys as a keyboard and I'd figure out songs, but I didn't know how to read it. So I would pause the video every time someone's hands would move and try to figure out which note that was and how to play it. And now I finally am able to play. I've 10 lessons and it's a lot of fun.
Yay. Good. It's nice to have a lot of things that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be a lot of things, but just a few things where you're like, oh, maybe I need to go hit the keys for a while. Maybe I need to go sketch, right? Or maybe put an outfit together, or I don't know. You know, there's so many things that you guys do that are creative. It's just so fun to hear. Does anybody else want to chime in? I see somebody has a story, Brooke. And then
I see Brooke has a story, yes.
So I kind of was hearing to your story, and it kind of reminded me of my parents because my mom's more country and my dad's more rock. So they kind of like don't understand each other. My mom listens to more of what the people say, and my dad listens to more of the sounds, like the beats. So whenever they're together, my mom will be like, "Did you hear that song? It was really great." And he'll be like, "Huh? Oh, I was listening to the beat. I didn't hear the song at all." So they kind of like get to each other, but they don't really fight about it. They kind of understand each other with it. And it's kind of cool to see them get along so well, but have so many different types of ways in music.
Absolutely. It's like the opposites attract in so many ways, right?
I was about to say that right now.
Share commonalities, but then it's so nice when you don't have everything in common because it kind of like, it adds interest. If like, thanks for sharing that, Brooke. That's really cool. Yeah. Anybody else? Like anything, I mean, really take this anywhere you guys want, right?
And if you play an instrument, let us know. Like, let us know what is your outlet. Do you sing? Do you play an instrument? Do you make beats? Like, what do you do musically?
I kind of wanted to share that I think my piano teacher grew up like only listening to classical music, so she's like super into classical music, and I always kind of thought it was boring. Like I did not like it. I did like some things by Beethoven and stuff, but you only hear like what they put in movies or things, and you only hear a bit of it, so you don't hear the whole part. And now that I've kind of gotten to see the sheet music point of view, you can see how like complicated and challenging it could be to play, or how like thought out it actually is. It's not just boring. There's a lot put into it. And so I think sometimes when you grow up with different music or you get a different outlook, you can appreciate it better, like we were saying earlier. And also, like what Brooke said, that's kind of like my mom and me. I always listen to the lyrics of songs and I always memorize like every song, but I listen to like the whole thing, but I mainly listen to the lyrics. And I'm like, oh, did you get that? Like, did you hear what the song was saying? And my mom's like, oh, I just thought the song was nice, like the music. And so now I've taught her to listen more to the lyrics. And so now it's kind of cool because we can share that and be like, oh, that's a great song. So it's kind of fun when you can like look at different points of views and stuff.
All right, I see we have a few different stories. Let's start with Xavier.
So, ever since I was little, I was kind of a music person. I loved to dance around and like play different instruments. But now I'm a little bit more like, I like sports a little bit more now. But ever since I was like 4, my mom introduced me to drums, and my mom got me a drum set when I was 4 in Florida. And then my mom, I was like, oh my gosh, I got a drum set. And then I just got the drumsticks and then just started playing random beats. My mom said I was actually pretty good for like a 4-year-old. But like, then my drum set broke, so then I was really sad when I was like 7. But then I just started practicing 7 through 8, and then that's when I got more interested in sports, but I still play drums in my free time. My mom recently bought me an electric drum kit, so. But my mom said that, like, my siblings and me would make a really good team. Like, I play the drums. My brother, he loves guitar, even though he doesn't play it at all. And my sister, she doesn't like to do it in front of people, but she loves singing. And she's really, 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 like, 1,000 times more really good at it. She's, like, extremely good. Like, she sounds like the actual singer, but she doesn't like to do it in front of people. So, like, one time I was at a talent show, and my sister was going to sing for everyone. But then my sister just, like, stared at everyone, and then she was like, but she didn't do anything for like a straight 2 minutes, and then they just like got her off stage.
Oh, hey, at least she was going to give it a shot, though. I saw that Isabel in the chat definitely agrees what you were saying about your sister, about being able to sing but not wanting to sing in front of people, which is still great, right, Mrs. Siri? It's still like it's their talent. They're still doing it, even if they don't want to do it in front of people.
Oh yeah, man, that's the best thing I think for teachers, right? It's like we see the talent that so many. Sorry, my daughter's.
You're fine.
That so many students have, but whether or not they choose to share it, I encourage people to share their gifts. Your talents are your gifts, and when you share them and think of other people, it helps with the nerves. I promise. If you think of the person that you can inspire, that might, a light will go off for them, and they, might find a passion that they didn't know. So if you think of it that way, without the pressure of, do I have to be like famous or rich and all that? Please don't. Like, don't even think of that. Learn, like Janelle sharing how she learned self-taught, with going to the program. And I was forced to take piano lessons at second grade, and I didn't want to. And I begged my mom, please, I don't want to do this. I'm so glad she forced me to. I was into other stuff. But there is a part, like we all have different approaches to learning. My husband is a phenomenal guitar player. He taught himself in high school in about 2 years. He just looked at this piece of wood and looked at it and said, the guitar is like, okay, it's got strings. I can figure it out. I know. Totally. And so I know none of you guys are listening to me because of this cute creature.
They have a harmonica, so it's perfect.
She does
Play a piece for us.
Go ahead and play. You want to play? Okay. She won't when you tell her, just like you guys, right?
She waits till you start talking, and then she's like,
she has the comedic timing down. I'm gonna push mute because I know a lot of you guys want to talk.
I wanted to say,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, if your sister doesn't really like singing, maybe she should try first singing in front of like just like a couple people, just like one person that is not like usually that she sings in front of, and then that's how I built my confidence in more singing. Like the only person I first sang in front of was Mrs. Siri. Oh, I see that Xavier.
Sorry, I was on mute. Speaking about that, my sister did actually sing in front of a few people, but she got like extremely scared after she did it. But we were all proud of her. But
Oh, yeah.
usually she just sings to my mom and like me. My mom likes to sing along because like she is like a pro at like the long beats, like oh, and stuff like that. I'm not really good at singing and like stuff like that.
Did she go to our school?
Yeah, she does do a Light Academy, Elite Academy.
Then she should come to the chorus. I mean, the chorus is like they sing. It's a singing club.
Oh, she probably love that. Thank you.
And it kind of goes, but like what all you guys are saying in Janelle, it's like when it comes to music, everybody gravitates towards something else. Like the perceptive listening skills. My brother's a drummer. He'd sit behind me in the car. He's 8 years younger than me, but whatever music was playing, he'd be drumming on the seat, and he'd be picking up beats and patterns that I didn't even hear. I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter by like in nature, so I gravitate towards melody, and I hear the lyrics and the melody the most. And then my husband, when I met him and started hanging out with him, I'd have him play on my arm all the time. And he'd like air guitar on my arm. But it was so cool because I could hear what he's hearing in the guitar that I never really paid attention to, like what you guys are saying. So it's so cool when you collaborate or you just ask people to tell you or explain or show you what they're hearing. It just makes the song, even if you've heard a song 5,000 times, it makes it, and you'll never forget when you hear it again, their perspective on it, so it's kind of cool.
Absolutely. And I know I said singing and instruments or whatnot, but we also have somebody in here, I know for sure, does digital music, where they create their music all digitally, and that would be our very own Jaden, who actually provides the music that you hear on the podcast intro and outros. That's Jaden making that. So Jaden, what inspires you when you're doing it? I know that's an outlet for you. What got you started? What inspires you? And what's the goal?
Well, what first actually got me started was actually my brother-in-law. He's actually been doing that for since I was like in 3rd grade. So he's been doing that for quite some time, so like 8 years. So that's when I figured out about it. So he's probably been doing it way longer than 8 years, but that's when I figured it out. And I just, one day when I went over, I just went on there and I just pressed random stuff, and it was just kind of fun. So I think I really started when I was like 11 or 12. That's when I tried to like really take it serious. So yeah, that was how everything began. And I had a program called LMMS at first. It was a free DAW, digital audio software, whatever it's called. I forgot what it was called. That's how it all started. And then I went to FL Studio. I got the free trial, of course. I don't have enough money for the product yet. And then that's how that began. And then I still have a lot of stuff to work on, of course, but that's pretty much how everything is. And my main goal is probably just to make it to being a music producer, make songs for people. And yeah, that's probably my main goal.
I have to chime in, Jaden, because you said, well, it really kind of started for me when I was around 11. It started for you, especially if you want to be a producer. It started for you when you were really young, around the music, and you were hearing it. You were listening to it. You didn't do it, like, obviously, on purpose. You just were around it. So your ears were training, so to speak. For a producer, it's all about your ears. Your ears are your gold. And being able to, work that muscle. So you started, so think about like how many hours you were just around. You said it was your older brother or uncle? I'm sorry.
It was my brother-in-law.
Your brother-in-law. Okay. Yeah. So like how old were you when you were just in that setting, hearing the music?
I was like 8. Yeah. So I was like 8 or 9.
Yeah. So there's a couple of years of just that training, so all of you can think about that for you. It's like, don't ever forget how important it is just to listen more than playing, because our ear, especially those of you who do want to write and create, your ear has to hear it, kind of like the options, so to speak. So don't get in your own way. It's what I always encourage musicians to spend so much time just listening to other artists, diverse artists, and really paying attention. Don't just put them on and passively listen. Like, analyze it. Like, really kind of break it apart in a fun way where you get to geek out and you're not trying to force yourself to do anything, even though sometimes that forcing, that's the discipline, which is good, right? You need to make progress, but try not to, like, I'm glad I didn't get to just quit piano. I can't even imagine not being able to play. Like, I need to like, you know, like bang on the keyboard at times. And then other times I need to play a little lullaby, you know, and to just process whatever it is, right, in life. So, Jaden, is it like that for you with your beats? And if anybody wants to chime in, like with other music or anything that you've written, because by the way, those of you who write lyrics, you are the partner with musicians, you know, coming up with those lyrics. And sometimes those of you that write lyrics, you're not aware of it, but you write melodies. You might not play an instrument, but they have so many really cool apps that you could create the chord, you know, structure behind you, and you can develop a song enough to where you can share it with a more skilled musician, and then they can kind of take your idea and like really develop it. And it's so fun. You just hang out and you jam, right? Like, I was in a garage band in high school. That was fun. It was scary, but I was like, okay, what are we doing? Nobody knew. You know, I was like the most technically trained, but nobody else was. And it was cool because I learned a ton from them and they learned a lot from me. Did we all know how to read music? No, but you figure it out. You figure it out, and, you know, and just follow what's going to make you work hard is what I say. Don't say, well, I can't read music, so I can't do that. I think you guys know with your generation, and right now there's no gatekeepers. Like, you have so much access to sharing things, but right now you just need to focus on not giving yourself barriers and excuses to why you can't do what you want to do. You know what I mean? So I'll be quiet now.
I think Xavier had his hand up.
My mom showed me this app. It was pretty cool. Like, you can make your own music and stuff, and like you can add like voices and stuff in there, and like you can like record your voice like, "Oh yes, I'm cool" and stuff like that or something. And then like it would make it sound different, and like you could like kind of like pitch it in, like, you know, with like some kind of music they'd like kind of like add different beats in there without actually playing the instrument. I kind of like that stuff. My mom didn't give me the app though, but I'm looking forward to getting the app. So yeah,
That
it's
sounds
really
cool.
cool.
You can get lost for hours with those fun studio stuff, right? You guys know?
Yes.
There's lots of cool resources, like even in I have an electrical keyboard, but it has like a box around it that makes it look like a real piano, and so it has like a bunch of different settings, and you can make it sound like a billion different things. Like whenever I like a song and I'm like, oh, this would sound really pretty as a music box, I do the music box setting and then play it. Or you could say, oh, this would sound pretty on violin, and then you can play around with that. Of course it's not perfect, but it's really neat to kind of hear how it could sound. And then I have a setting where you can like split it, so you could do half and half, so you could do like cello and violin or something, and something cool, and it's fun.
Well, the second you change, we call it the timbre. The word looks like timbre, it's spelled Timbre, but it's pronounced timbre, and it's basically just the quality of that instrument. So you said like strings versus the piano, like the timbre, they could be playing the same notes, but it has a whole different mood and a feel, right? Or it changes, if you're writing something, it changes your idea or your process. Just the one instrument, you're like, oh, maybe this whole genre is different if you change it to guitar, right?
We should. I was like,
Is that somebody's stomach? Somebody missed
That was
one?
perfectly timed. I'm not sure if it was like a car starting up or.
Sounds like
Oh, did you hear like the car driving by? Like, oh yeah, that's like far away. I don't understand how you guys can hear it. Anyway,
Speaking of the car
it's
sound,
just cars because I live like right next to a street, and they get.
there's so much. Jaden, I'm sure he knows because he's dabbled with the producer. There's so many really cool non-instrument category sounds that are embedded and weaved into the music that you hear that give artists their sound, you know, or an album. they'll weave it through the whole album. It could be a car sound that just, you know, you can't place it because it's got all the other instruments around it, but it just gives a mood, you know, a feel, a vibe, an edge, so to speak. It's kind of cool. So that's where you, again, your ear training as a producer. Producers, I always say they're like aliens with their ears, the way that they hear. Like, what is it? Echolocation, that bats. What is it? I've been fortunate to be in the same room. My husband's first album was recorded at Sound City, and it's not there anymore, but it's iconic studio. But with a producer who did the U2, two of the U2 albums, and just a lot of really cool people. But the way that they hear, that's when I realized I'm not a good listener. And I thought I was a good listener. And I'm like, wow. And there's really strict rules. Like, you don't get to talk in a studio. I mean, everybody just knows you're not talking. You're just using these, and and it takes time to process. So it's just everybody moving, feeling it the way they feel it. It's different. Somebody might say, yeah, that's really good. Or, ooh, I'm not feeling it. So again, there's not judgment. There's just your own truth. If you can express your own truth, that is the value. But say it, obviously, in a way that's how you want to be treated, right? So I think that's tough sometimes too. You might have somebody who just, I don't know, isn't as open-minded, and it makes it tough to create together or collaborate. Do any of you write? Create your own melodies or little. Anybody want to share? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you come up with. Jaden just shared with me a loop that I asked him right away. I was like, "Is this yours? Like original?" And go ahead, Jaden.
Oh, I actually found a loop from some type of like drum kit I recently downloaded, and I just used that. And I just changed it up, but I do not write melody. I do not write lyrics. So to answer that question, I do not. But I'm thinking about doing it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, don't give yourself any barriers or excuses. And when it makes sense for all of you, you'll jump on it and you'll really learn it when it makes sense. I hope. Again, you know, going back to the whole, don't make excuses. Don't say it's too late. Don't ever say it's too late. I have a good friend of mine who wrote a book when he was 80. He had another decade of life. And I'm like, okay, I'm always remembering he was a music arranger, composer, you know. Like, don't ever box yourself in with creative opportunities.
So I agree with that because a lot of times it could be overwhelming because, like, for me, I've always wanted to learn piano, but like the age people start is like really young sometimes, and then by the time they're your age, they've been playing for like 10 years, and then you're like, oh, I haven't played that long. I started when I was 15, and I've only been playing a couple of years, and so sometimes there is that like, oh, there's younger kids who can do way better than you, but the fact is I'm proud of myself because I can actually achieve that now, and I've come really far, and I do great, and I'm, you know, they say sometimes, yeah, it might be easier if you're little because you're kind of like putting that in your brain before you've been kind of like affected with different things, or you kind of have a certain mindset on something, but you could still learn, and you could still do a great job, and it could be a lot of fun. So I think just because you're old or even young, you could do anything when you want to.
That kind of
something. Oh, I just want to add on to what Janelle was saying. The reason why they say that younger ones is because they use both sides of their brains. When you get older, you only use one side of your brain. So that's why they say that they can learn more. That's why, honestly, I really like learning languages. But I feel like I don't use both sides of my brains anymore. But I'm still learning. I'm learning like Spanish and French and sign language. So I think I will be able to learn them. Sometimes I find it so hard. I'm like, no, I'm too old already to learn. But I'm like, people tell me you're only 15. What are you talking about? I'm like, I can't learn piano again. I learned piano when I was like,
dinosaurs. If you guys think you're old, right?
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
I thought it was old because I wanted to learn Jinjitsu. I still want to learn that. There's so much I want to learn. But then I'm like, am I too old to learn this? Because like I mean, those people, they take lessons like since they were little, like Jinjitsu and fencing, like archery. They all take lessons when they're like in kindergarten. And I'm like,
well, am
I gonna go in a lesson?
I took it in middle school.
And look,
I feel like I'm gonna go in a class for beginners, and I'm gonna be like the only teenager there. They're all gonna be like little children.
I'll come practice with you if you're gonna do archery.
I love
Remember-
archery so much.
Like what Mrs. Sari said though, like you're never too old. Like never, ever, ever. And yeah, like she said, her friend who wrote a book at 80. There's no such thing as
I
being
want
too
to
old
write a
to
book
learn.
so bad.
And also, you're
Oh, you're
muted.
muted.
You're muted.
So sorry. He couldn't have written the book earlier. The book came at the right time. I often would have people like, why didn't you become the solo artist that you were going to become? You know, Mrs. Amy is my name. And I'm like, I followed my gut. I followed, again, why you pick up an instrument. I hope it's because it's important to you and only you, and you're not worried about what other people think. And you're not going to be pressured into doing something that just doesn't feel right for you in your heart and in your gut, because then you're going to be disappointed. You have to pay attention to your own life timeline, because the things that you will create are going to be timely and relevant because they're relevant to you, not because you stuck to, or compared, like Janelle, the whole time you were sharing that with us. I'm like, yeah, comparison is like a demon. If we start comparing
Agreed.
and we get envious, that is the worst thing you can do. And we all know what that's like. And your generation more than ever, because of you have exposure to so much more than we ever did. And I still had that big time. And I see Mr. Smith
It's actually
nodding his
in a
head.
song.
Yeah.
It's a song called "Jealousy" by Olivia Rodrigo, and she's saying like how comparison is like killing her slowly, and that's like one of the lyrics. And I was gonna sing that song last time, but then like I couldn't sing. Like I was gonna sing it, but then I was like, you started saying that we could sing in the middle of the thing, and I was prepared to sing at the end. And then my parents came, and I'm like, I don't sing in front of them.
What if you sing now?
So like, well, no.
Why not?
This is live.
No, it's recorded.
Okay.
So
No,
how
this is
Absolutely.
not
Not
live,
recorded.
it's recorded.
Whatever, it's the same thing. I mean, it's gonna be recorded, so everyone's gonna see it later.
No, nobody
not
won't.
there yet.
Nobody will.
I hope they will, Jade. I really hope they will see it. We want them to watch this.
No, nobody's gonna see it. Don't worry, Cindy. You can do it right now.
And
And
even
shame-
if they do, just
Shame
yeah.
on them, right? And shame on them for being the judge.
I haven't practiced that song enough.
Guys, we have all been there. I know you're human. We have all judged, and we've all been that negative force in the room or observing something. That is not good. It never makes you feel good. If it does, it's only for a split second because you're trying to like puff yourself up, and it's false. It's not real. So I always say this: like, we know that there's going to be those people that are just not mature enough. You know, that was for me. I wasn't mature enough. I didn't have enough experience. So I did a lot of negative judgment that I needed to outgrow and learn. Most of us that judge others, we judge ourselves the worst. You know what I mean?
I could sing a different song. I just can't sing that song because I haven't practiced that song enough. But I can sing a different song.
Okay,
Because I haven't practiced that
a,
song enough.
yeah, give us a
all
little
of you guys-
sample of that.
all of you guys think about something that you want to share.
Of a different song, not that song.
Yep,
That's
after
fine.
Cindy.
Because
Share.
I've been practicing that song on the lip buzz because I'm just like breath support.
Oh, she's getting ready. Here we go. This is gonna be good. I'm gonna mute myself. This is gonna be good.
By the way, Mrs. Siri, I'm gonna sing "Fly Me," like the song by Frank Sinatra because that's like I love him so much, and that's like the only song I sing all the time. Can I practice without it?
All I ask is all of you, if you're going to share something today, don't think about your own nerves. The second you start to do that, stop and just think about us. Think about one other person, or even better, think about the reason why you love that song or whatever it is that you're sharing. Just focus on that. That's a really cool opportunity that I know Mr. Smith and I noticed right away. Do other teenagers see that right away, and other adolescent? I'm sorry, I know some of you guys are not teenagers. I'm sorry, but do you guys recognize that right away? I don't know. I didn't when I was your age. So again, you're human. Don't feel bad, but just have this be a new experience for you, whether or not you decide to, what I call, step into the arena. You're stepping on a stage and you're having a new experience. It can be super small. Javier, you kind of did that. I remember what that was, like the gist of what that beat pattern was that you threw out. I was like, ah, it's cool. They had tempo, had some things. So it's just fun to share any musical idea that you guys have, whether it's yours or something that you've heard. Cool. It's cool to hear it through you guys. Because, there's that makes it original. Cool.
You think that Holden can just edit out this part? Like, okay. I want to look at the camera, but then I don't want to. I'm just going to look at you guys. Like, Mrs. Cesari. I always focus on, like, Mrs. Cesari. Fly me to the moon and let me play amongst the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, I love you. That's it. I keep on always mixing up the words,
Oh, no, I don't know. Can you do it one more time and this time be there with it? You weren't thinking of it. You were thinking of other stuff. Just think about.
Yeah, I was thinking of other stuff.
Yeah. Can you just do it one more time, and everybody, and you guys can go in the chat too if there's like, hey, I want to share something, or hey, I want to. Right? Do you agree, Mr. Smith? Like that way, I know the time's running down. So Cindy, do it one more time and just think about. Fly me to the moon and let me, whatever story comes through for you, let that come through. Your voice sounded be, your voice, we all know how beautiful the tone of your voice is. It's gorgeous. It's yours.
Mm-hmm.
So now you need to just add that part that comes from your heart of why you like it.
This is my little sister's favorite song. She loves this song,
Wait,
so I always sing it to her.
Absolutely.
I think I sang it like 100 times today for her.
Cool. So pretend you're singing it to her. Got it? Cool. Go for it.
Okay. I miss her. I want her to be here. I just saw her like a couple minutes ago, but I love her so much. Fly me to the moon and let me play amongst the stars. You are all I care for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. You know what? I always mix up the words. I always say that after the song.
Wait. Awesome. That took a lot of courage. And that's
liked it.
what I saw.
can make
And you-
music out of it.
Yep, she relaxed and you just let it go. And there's a lot you can do from that point. Everybody, right? You've got to start. You have to start where you are. And then going back to Janelle and what you guys said and what Mr. Smith said, you start when you want to start and you learn, but everybody learns at different pace as well. You know what I mean? So you might start when you're in high school, but you learn faster than the person who started when they were in second grade. It doesn't matter. It's just you're at your own pace. You're where you are now, and where that can go is up to you and what you work
I
on.
think Brooke wants to say something.
Cool.
So I heard someone saying like Jitsu, like they're too old to start.
Oh, Jinjitsu. Yeah, that's me.
So, yeah. I started at 10, and they already think that I'm ready to go on. I don't feel like I'm ready to go on, but I feel like that's just me, and I feel like if the coaches say, because it's not just one coach saying it, it's like 3 or 4 saying that I'm ready, then I know that I'm ready. And I started when I was 10, and I'm only 12 now.
I think we lost her.
Exactly.
Oh, it's like she froze for me.
But that's exactly the point. Don't compare yourself. Just know what. Listen, like she said, she's listening to the coaches now. Don't get in
What
your
I
own-
learned-
take that feedback and then go. Right? That's awesome.
What I learned is that it's not. It's something I want to do, and I think I'll have a lot of fun doing it. So I don't want to compare myself to other people. What should I compare to other people with doing something I love? Like, it's different. Like, I love singing. I mean, I just started like really like practicing singing since like last year, like when I met Mrs. Cesari in like the chorus, and I think I improved a lot from then. Like, and
When it comes to technique, we all have to work at technique, you know, but when it comes for the reason why you even start, that's where, again, home run, Cindy. I listen to you sing and I see somebody who's relaxed and doing it for the right reasons, you know, and then it makes it easier to work at the stuff that's boring, like the technical drills and exercises and right. And I'll bow out. Mr. Smith, go.
Well, no, I see a hand up from Solana. But you're on mute. We can't hear you. There you go.
Oh, yeah. I love singing, and I think you did a really good job, and I think it takes a lot of courage to do that, so clap to you, or applause to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It was fantastic. You did a great job. And if anybody else would like to share any of their talents right now, please just let us know. And Xavier, go right
I see Xavier.
That kind of reminded me when I was like around 8, I was pretty good at dancing. I mean, I used to take dance classes, like some tap, some jazz, and like some other stuff. My mom one time tried to make me do ballet, but I was like, nah. But like when I was 8, there was this big talent show. So my mom was like, "Why don't you dance?" And I'm like, at first I was kind of embarrassed and kind of shy, but then I was kind of like, I'm just gonna do it because I'm just gonna get all that courage and just like bring it out, kind of like a lion, you know, like this, like get all the courage and then, like I try to get all my courage and just like use it. So then I danced and then like and stuff like that. I was like dancing like a dancing star, like a dancing star. And then everyone said I did a pretty good job, so I gave myself a little tap on the back or pat on the back. So for doing that, so yeah, like that kind of reminded me of the courage. Like I felt that before. Like I thought that I was like, okay, this is just gonna be kind of like weird and like embarrassing. But then I got all the courage and like, yeah.
Yeah, for me, like, I get so scared. I'm sorry. I was just so serious. I get like so scared, and then like something just pushes me to like do it because I never like. I get so scared sometimes, and like it just pushes. This is the first time I sang with like not my camera on, like at all. Like even in front of like Mrs.
You did a great job. You really did. And I see we have one more person. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I haven't been singing for a very long time, so it wasn't the best. But like Mrs. Siri said, like if you nervousness and exciting, they have the same like feeling. Like your brain is like the same, so you always like trick yourself to thinking like you're excited. And I remember Mrs. Siri, like I think it was someone excited.
Yes, that is Jillian's. She coined that term, Nick-cited, taking nerves and excitement, just kind of, tell yourself. When you're nervous, you guys, no matter what it is that you're doing, when you're nervous and you've got some fear, that is your green light to really, I would say, go for it, because you're going to have a real experience to see what you can do. And Xavier, you did that dancing thing. What if nobody said good job? Would you keep going at it? I hope. You know what I mean? Like, it's great when we do get that, okay, like, but there's something called self-efficacy, which is the belief in your own ability, no matter what support looks like around you.
Even if they didn't, like, normally I'm the person who, like, if someone makes fun of me or something, I don't care. Like, I literally just don't care because I have my own, not really ego, but like the good ego. Like I don't care what anyone says about me. Like, So like even if they didn't really give me support and they're like boo boo next person on stage, I wouldn't really care. I would just be like, at least
right.
I
wish I could have that.
Because you focused on your experience. You knew that you were there to have a new experience to grow from. Not everybody's going to have that perspective, and that's okay. That's what we all have to accept, right? Nobody knows what going like why we are doing certain things, and that's not human for us to think that everybody should understand where we're coming from. That's not fair either. So when people do, it's okay. We don't have time to explain everything to everybody, But that's cool. Cindy, what were you saying?
I was saying, I wish I had that quality. Like, I see that people, I I tend to care like what people say a lot. Like sometimes like I act like I don't care, but then later it like just plays in my head like over and over and over again. And sometimes I don't think about it like at the moment, but then later, a couple days later, I start thinking about it, and it's just like, why? Like, and sometimes I think like I almost like gave up singing. Like I think later, like last year, because I was just like, why do I even sing? I'm not that good at it. And then I realized the reason why I sing is not because like I'm like I'm good at it. It's just I like it and I really enjoy singing, and I want to get better at it. So that's why I always go to like the chorus, because then I want to get better at singing, and I really enjoy it, doing it.
Absolutely.
That's the reason. Yeah. We are running out of time. I see two people, and we will wrap it up after that. So first we're gonna go Solana. And then Janelle. So first, Solana.
I feel like when you're scared sometimes and then you just sort of do it, it feels better. And if it doesn't feel better, when you keep practicing and keep trying and again, it'll just feel natural and you'll get the hang of it.
Thank you. Very, very good point. And to end it, Janelle said that she will play something on her piano for us. So, Janelle, go right ahead.
Is it okay if it's like a couple minutes?
Go for it.
Okay. 1 second. Let me get... And if I mess up, maybe just edit it out or something.
You're fine.
I'll try my best. I'm very nervous with playing in front of people, so I'll try my best. First, can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, one last thing. My pedal squeaks, so sorry if you hear squeaking.
You're good.
It's more character. Awesome. Oh, Shenandoah.
Yeah.
That's Shenandoah. I love that song. And it's one of those songs that my mom forced us to sing in choir, but man, it's again one of my favorites. And then look, you play it today, and I'm going to just throw this out there. This is how powerful music is. My mom's been a little sick lately, and when I tell her the next time I talk to her that you played that song, like you're going to make me have all happy tears. So thank you so much. And that's what, again, music's for. It connects with people when you least expect it, right? So that's why you should always share, because you can't predict what it's going to do for somebody. It's a gift. Going back to that whole gift thing. So thank you.
Thank you. And I was super nervous, so I hope I did okay.
You did fantastic. And Janelle was going to close us out, but since she just gave us that performance, and I'll let her come down on her nerves, I will close it out for us. So I want to thank everybody for being a part of our podcast today. Thank you to Mrs. Sari for joining us. Thank you to everybody for sharing your awesome music experiences. Please make sure you visit Elite Academic Academy on YouTube, subscribe, and that way you can get all of the Be Elite podcast episodes right to your YouTube. Thank you very much, and I hope everybody has a great day. Take care.